Coming up, DC Studios' new superhero just landed. Join us as we dissect Supergirl. Stay tuned.
I was just touching base to see when you think you might be coming back. You know, I'm just worried that you're not going to find your stride here if you keep going off-world all the time, Kara. I'm worried you're not going to find your people.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, Clark. I have no people.
Welcome to the Morgue, where we dissect the latest and greatest in the world of entertainment. We are your host, Arturo Padilla, along with Mr. Nick Valdez. Howdy, Tex. How are you today, buddy? What's up?
Howdy, everybody. Howdy, Arturo. Supergirl. Boy, this is a big one. It's DC Studios' first non-Superman movie, if that makes any sense. This is still technically in the Superman world, but now we're starting to see, okay, here is what James Gunn's plan is going to look like for this thing. And I liked it, dude. Like we're gonna get into the here's why, but I liked it. But just before getting into any spoilers, I really enjoyed it. It was lean, mean, and like it had a lot of surprises, but not really. Like it's one of those. Like it's very hard to like really get into it because it's when you think about it, it might sound like a backhand criticism, but you know, there's not a lot of meat on the bone, but also that's also why I liked it, right? Like, what did you think, Arturo?
Yeah, I was also a fan of this movie. There was a lot of hate and like just pure venom out there for this movie prior to its release, man. These critics were really just lambasting this thing left and right. And I was talking to Tex off the air and I was like, hey, have you seen these reviews? These sound a little bit out there. And
Yeah,
anytime reviews skew so one way, especially towards the negative, you have to just be the judge for yourself. And I'm glad that I went in there with an open heart and an open mind, and I was not disappointed. But like Tech said, this is a very lean movie. It's not Superman. It doesn't have the substantial lore behind it like the other DC properties had. But all that said, I think this movie accomplished the goal that it set out to do, to introduce us to the new Supergirl in James Gunn's DC universe, right, Tex?
yeah, like and it's funny because it's kind of like a Superman 1.5. You know, like his it is technically like a secret Superman sequel without, you know, because we're gonna get Man of Tomorrow in 2027. James Gunn's already working on it now. And now this one kind of bridges the gap because we do see more of like Krypton's origin, right? Because all we got in Superman, you know, it jumps so far ahead in Clark's time that he's already a Superman who's been active for like 3 years at this point. And then we find out in that movie that his parents sent him over there, sent him to Earth to conquer it. It's a major change to his origin, and it's something that's kind of like they address it for a second in Superman, but it's not really a whole thing. But in Supergirl, we finally get to see it. We see Krypton blowing up again. We see now Argo is where she lives after that, and the result of that. And it's expanded upon. Like it's great because then they address it. Like we have Kara's father addressing the fact that, oh, my brother sent his son to Earth to conquer it, but you're gonna do the opposite. You're gonna use your powers for good. And we see that kind of it's the Superman origin story, right? Like this is secretly like this is the Superman origin that we didn't get in Superman because there was no time for that. And honestly, I really appreciate that about Supergirl because that's the thing. Like Superman, yeah, like it was cool seeing like just skipping the origin story, but also it's a new Superman, and yes, origin stories are annoying, but also they're kind of necessary for new versions of these characters, right? And this is what Supergirl gives us. It gives us that origin, and then like it allows us to get more of that Superman mythos that we missed in Superman because that movie was so packed with so much other junk that like this by comparison, the fact that it's such a breeze, I enjoyed it more. Like that's I kind of have to say this. So yes, we'll get into specifics whether or not stuff worked or not, but like as a whole, I did walk out of this one enjoying it more than Superman.
I can definitely see that take. I definitely enjoyed Superman a lot more than this one, but I did like this movie for what it was. It wasn't your crazy blockbuster, but it did manage to endear us to this character, which we had no clue what she was about. We'd never seen this version of Kara Zor-El in the actual DC cinematic universe. We've seen a different version of Supergirl in the Flash movie a couple of years ago. There's been a Supergirl on the CW TV shows. There was a Supergirl movie way back in the 70s, but this version of Kara Zor-El slash Supergirl, the James Gunn edition, definitely needed to get introduced in a proper way than just how she was kind of thrown in there in Superman last year. And I'm so glad that they took the time to actually develop her and to spend a lot more time with this character. Yes, we do get little bits of Superman jumping in there and stealing some scenes, but I feel that the mission here was to emotionally develop this character and to show how different she is from Kal-El, from Superman. The fact that they were raised completely differently is a big point as well in this movie. And I really like the fact that they showed it. And like Tech said, they also spent some time in Krypton and how that all went down. And it's something that was missing from Superman. But like Tex mentioned, it was such a heavy movie in terms of just stuff in there that they had no time or even budget to probably do that stuff in that movie. So they snuck all that goodness into this movie, and it did act like a 1.5, a an origin of sorts of Krypton and Superman. We see the little ship flying in the distance, and Kara's parents say, "Oh, that's my brother's kid or whatever," and they get into that. So I am really happy that they actually delved into that whole destruction of Krypton a little bit because I was curious to see what that looked like in James Gunn's version. We've seen that same kind of stuff in Zack Snyder's version, right? And in Richard Donner's version of Superman. And it was completely different here. So I'm glad that each director and each DC iteration had their own vision of Krypton and how it went down. I really liked the way they did it here. But back to Kara Zor-El, man, I really dug Millie Alcock's performance as Supergirl, man. I was a little hesitant at first because I wasn't familiar with her work at all. I know she's done House of Dragons for HBO, but I've never watched a single episode of that. So just having all that screen time with her, I am sold on this girl, on this Supergirl, I should say. And I cannot wait to really see what she adds to the James Gunn universe, Tex.
Yeah, yeah, because she's like definitely around now. And I think that's what the whole thing is. Because in Superman, we see her for a second, right? And she's drunk, and Clark's like, oh, well, she goes to planets where she can get drunk with the red sun. And now we get to see that here in Supergirl. And it's based loosely based on the comic Supergirl World of Tomorrow, which I've never read. I'll outright say this. I've got no experience with the comic. I don't know how faithful or unfaithful it is. I know there are big changes from that comic, especially when it comes to like color palette, which was something that people complained about, which I do agree with. This movie does have like a lot of browns and dark blues, and like it's no Superman, right? Like it's Superman. It did have a lot of room for color in Superman, but also that was an issue there too, because that's another thing, right? Because like in that movie, it's not really as bright and colorful as you would kind of hope. And Supergirl's exactly like that. And it is fitting for her character because she is taking on a little edgier story in terms of, because basically Crypto gets poisoned, and the guy who poisoned him is like this kind of space trafficker, essentially. And he's doing all this scumbag stuff. And he's Krem, not really a deep villain. That's 100% the case. I've seen those criticisms, and they are right on the money. But what they don't kind of realize here too is that that's okay, because like sometimes these guys just got to be evil cartoon villains, right? Like sometimes that's comic books. I'm sorry, like it's enough for a guy just to be a scumbag and to kind of enjoy chewing the scenery when he's on screen. Like they give him a good gimmick. of like every time he's doing something, he's like eating or snacking on
Yeah.
something all like while he's there. And that's a good like scumbag move because that's clearly like, it in movie terms, it quickly establishes, hey, I'm comfortable in invading your space. I've got no qualms about it. I've no issues. I'm fully confident that I'm going to walk out of here with what I want, and I'm going to take whatever thing you have and eat it and whatever and defile it basically. It's cool, screenwriting 101 kind of trickery, right? He's just like there to violate, and he does that just by eating a bowl of cereal or whatever. But and that's all you need from him, because the whole story is you have this young character named Ruthie whose family gets killed, and now she's setting out for her path of revenge, crosses paths with Supergirl, who's doing her own thing, and then they end up doing that together. And then Lobo's in there, and it all starts to go wild from there. But that's oh, okay. Well, since I brought him up, Arturo, do you mind if we talk about Lobo a bit?
Yeah. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, we'll get back to Creme a little later, but let's talk about Lobo because it's definitely a character of contention here.
Right.
Especially because Jason Momoa is playing Lobo,
Yes.
and essentially is Jason Momoa playing Jason Momoa all over again with a bunch of makeup on him. And the makeup doesn't really look that great.
Yeah.
And that's one big gripe that I had, especially when it comes to the full body shots of Lobo. He's wearing this prosthetic like bodysuit, which doesn't look good at all. It looks very fake. And I was telling Tex off air, a little peek under the sheet here. I'm like, hey, Momoa's a pretty fit guy. Why didn't they just kind of paint his body?
Yeah, it should have just been white body paint, or to like, or even if they didn't want to do like, I guess because he has like fully white skin in the comics, but like we,
But then he also wears a tank top usually in the comic books as well. You could have done
yeah,
that, like the black tank top or whatever.
yeah, and like it could have been like a blend, right? Like I don't think that people would complain if it did, like if it was Jason Momoa with like white body paint on. Like I don't, like there's a way to make that look good, right? Like there's, and this movie clearly does not. Like I will agree, like Lobo just does not look good, especially because Momoa, he's having fun, but like it's not necessarily great fun, to be 100% honest, because he doesn't feel comfortable. I don't know if it's because of that suit on him or something. He just, because we've seen Momoa in this kind of role in basically every movie since, man, like since he kind of started blowing up. Like he started becoming just the bro guy in a movie, and it's typecasting, but ultimately like it's serving him well, right? Like you want him to be the bro guy in your movie, so you hire him to be the bro guy. And Lobo is just a DC super immortal version of that, right? And when he shows up and he does this thing, it does, hilariously, it does feel kind of phoned in. Like you're like, oh, like
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because like ultimately, like when you break down the movie, like he's maybe in like 20% of it, and I don't know if it's because he's in there for such little time, or if it's because he himself just something isn't quite connecting, that it just doesn't come across well. Like especially because I like when you look at the grand picture of the film itself, he is just kind of forced in there.
Yeah, I agree 1010% on that. Um, on top of that too, Tex, he doesn't feel like he's needed at all in the movie.
Yeah,
He comes in because he's looking for a bounty on one of these bad guys that Krem hangs out with. But then, like, he doesn't really serve a purpose for anything. Even
yeah,
when, he's captured with Ruthie, Ruthie's the one that's doing all the work and even ends up getting him out of the prison cell. And like, even at the end of the movie and the climax of everything, he doesn't add anything to the fight. The fight is all about Supergirl. It's all about Ruthie trying to survive, and he's just there, I guess, trying to look cool. But it's just very like it's just so much of a token character to add here. Like, oh
yeah.
look, this is Lobo, but it's like, okay, cool. And like he doesn't add up.
It's
Like
why,
along with
right?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
he
know,
doesn't add
yeah.
up with any of the events or any of the actual formula that's going on here. It feels very thrown in. It just feels like James Gunn was doing his buddy a favor here. And
I
unfortunately,
mean,
it comes off like that too, right?
yeah, like this, there's nothing that screams studio mandate more than that, unfortunately. Like it definitely feels like, oh, we got to get Lobo in here. Like, just so Jason Momoa, he's a big Lobo fan. It's cool that he finally got to be the character he's always wanted to play. But like, if you turn the dial a little bit on that, you get Dwayne Johnson, Black Adam, right? Like it's like you got to be careful with these kinds of moves. And I do wonder, like, if this movie had more of him, would it have been worse, right? Because like this is also like he's fine as he is, but it's like it's almost at the border of like tolerable, right? Like he's like, because he's in such small doses, he's all right when he's there, but I feel like if you were in it more, you'd be like, oh, I don't know about Lobo and I don't know about Supergirl. So like that's one of the things where like I do agree with people. If they got a problem with Lobo, I'm like, yeah, I understand that. But thankfully to me, it's the rest of the package that works out. It's the same thing like going back to Krem. Like he's not like fleshed out, quote unquote. But then again, like I this is once again addressing reviews that have happened. Like we're getting to speak about this in the wake of like so many reactions and getting to absorb all of that, Arturo. So like seeing how people are reacting, I do think people are harping at the thin villain a little too much, because like if you look at Marvel for the past like 20 years or that they've been
Yep.
doing stuff, right? Like look at all those early movies. Like they were just villains just to be defeated at the end of the movie. Who cares, right? Like we didn't and in DC Studios defense, they're literally just getting started, right? And like they can't all be Lex Luthor, and they're not all going to be Lex Luthor. Like they're some of these movies are just going to have bad guys who are meant to be there and to get punched, and then that's it, right? But
Yeah. Agreed.
with Krem, he's I don't know if this might be too much of a spoiler for like the coolest choice of the movie, but what I will say dancing around that a little bit is that he's literally meant to be thrown away, and there's a purpose for that, right? There's a purpose why he's so hollow. He's just there to be scum, and scum to be dealt with, right?
Yeah, scum is what it is. And I think the choice of villain is important too, because it's we need to see what the rest of the universe has out there, right? Not
Right.
everyone's gonna be a Brainiac or a Darkseid or a
Yeah.
Lex Luthor, you know what I mean? Like, so
Yes.
it's cool to see lesser, like B tier villains, C tier villains out there still doing nonsense and still kind of ruining people's day. And
Yeah.
Krem is exactly that. The dude is a 100% like A tier jerk. And there's stuff in here in the movie that once you realize what he does, like you're like, oh, okay, this guy needs to be dealt with
Yes.
100%. And I think the movie does a good job of handling that. Like watching the movie, I never wished to see a bigger bad guy than Krem, because I think he did fulfill the role of
Yes. It
an
works for the
antagonist
movie.
very well, man.
Yes.
Yes,
Works for
absolutely.
the
Like
movie.
he
Yes.
had yes, 100%. He works 1000% for this movie, for Supergirl as well. Like he is scum, he's strong on top of that. He has like the strength of 1,000 men or something like that. He's also very smart because he has like kryptonite on him. People know about kryptonite and what it does to Kryptonians. So that's also like used in this movie very well in my opinion, and I think that adds to his character. I didn't need to see like a Joker or like, some A tier villain from the Rogue Gallery. I think using Krem was very smart because you also give yourself the opportunity to use worse bad guys in the future without having to just blow your load in the first one.
Oh my god, that's so true, because yeah, this is just the first Supergirl movie, right? Like who knows what they might have planned for her next? Who knows like because Supergirl is involved with like a lot of wild stuff in stories, like not even just comics. Like if you've looked at any of the cartoons in the past, like you see like she gets flung into the future and becomes like a
Yeah.
future member of like, I forget the official team name, but there was a cartoon based on just
A
about
Legion,
that.
right? Wasn't it Legion?
Yes, the Legion of
Yes.
Superheroes. Yeah, like that's her story. She's meant to do wilder and bigger things. So once again, like they're not all going to be Lex Luthor. Sometimes you're going to get a Whiplash, like an Iron Man 2, or
Yeah, I
some
would do that. Yes, I thought
like
about him when you mentioned bad guys.
yeah, like or like Ironmonger and Iron Man 1. They're just there to be beaten to set up the hero. And once again, this is all in service of Kara. And
Yes.
once again, that is where the strength of the movie lies. Like Millie Alcock is like doing her damnedest here, and she is great. And by the end of this, you really start to root for Supergirl, and you understand why she was the way she was, and why she was partying so hard, and why she's been so like against things, and why she ultimately makes their choice at the end that really separates her from Superman. And that adds a very interesting wrinkle for the rest of the DC universe. Like this is the big thing. Like I think that's what people are forgetting, Arturo. I think that like, you see this is the second big movie in DC Studios slate. So like I think people are going, "Oh, this this is too small in scope." But you're like, "No, you kind of for like once again going back to the Marvel comparisons, right? Like and going back to even DC Studios' past. Man of Steel went to Batman v Superman next, right? Like we never got just like a Batman movie and then like a Superman movie to set up, right? Like we got BVS right after, and then
Yeah,
jump right into Justice League. No, this is they're taking their time introducing each one before, like this is Supergirl, letting us know more about her before we get her in Man of Tomorrow. And
exactly. Yep.
like these are just building blocks, and it was good, right? Like this is the thing, like it was
Yeah.
ultimately just good.
These are like DC and James Gunn and Peter Safran. They're really trying to get characters on the screen,
Yes,
characters that you know inside and out. And in order to do that, you have to get movies like this. You need movies like this. This is why I really enjoyed her performance because it's such an emotional arc that she gets.
yeah,
And like Tex mentioned, by the end of it, you're like 100% rooting for her. You're rooting for her to succeed and you're rooting for her and for her next adventure because this one definitely felt like a part one. It
yes,
definitely felt like, okay, we have the basic foundation already like laid out for her. Everyone understands where she came from, how her emotions drive her, how she stands next to Kal-El, Superman, her cousin, how different they are, especially in their upbringing. And there was just one scene in particular with Corian Sweat, which again steals the scenes every time he's in because he's just a beacon of light that
yeah. He
so
is Superman. Yeah, like clearly,
yes,
like the cool thing about this is like, yes, Superman shows up, and it is a tease that like he might show up in other things, right? Like that's the thing too. Like that is a cool thing of like we might just get these characters popping up in anything.
don't you think that it was such a perfect use of him and his character?
Yeah,
Like he pops in, he does his thing 100%, and then he's out. It's back to Supergirl's movie, and I think that's so important, especially in the grand scheme of things, because that's how comic book works, people.
yeah,
That's how a comic book is told. You'll see Superman pop into Gotham real quick to speak to Batman about something, and then he's
yes,
gone, and
yeah.
vice versa. So I really enjoyed that text.
Yeah, it's real TV spin-off rules of like you see the stars from the original series going, "Hey, how you doing? We're here in, we're here in the city you live in now. All right, we're heading back to where we live. All right, see you later. Okay, and that's kind of what happens. But here, once again, this is just building those connective tissues between each of these stories. And I hate once again, like we've been kind of bashing other reviews, but the thing is, like when you look at this thing as a whole, like it's a good movie. And I think, maybe if you're expecting more, I do agree that like, yes, it's not always perfect. Like I had problems with the action because it does cut away from it a lot. and like and by the time you get to the climax, she's really going for it. There are some cool moments that I'm like, oh, I wish we got more of that, right? Like I wish we
Yeah.
got more of the Supergirl. And when you get that, it's great. And Millie Alcock kind of deserved it for what she does in this movie. She needs those big moments, and I do feel like it was lacking in just a little bit there. But once again, that's also not something that I'm gonna sit here and go, oh, well, throw out the whole thing because of that, right? Like it, this is just another piece of the DC Studios puzzle. And I did like it a lot more than a lot of the other DC Studios puzzle pieces, right? Like I liked it more than Peacemaker. I liked it more than Creature Commandos. And hopefully I won't like it more than Lanterns. I hope I really like Lanterns. But like, this is all to say DC Studios like has so much more planned that they're ultimately that they're probably trying to get out before like whatever happens with Paramount and that Warner Brothers merger, because who knows, because they recently announced like a ton of animated shows of that they're trying to do, and like cool, like I hope these things get made, right? And the writer from Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, she's working on like a Teen Titans script and a Wonder Woman movie, and you kind of hope those happen, right? This is all the stuff where it's like I hope this happens, and like we just kind of hope that they're good, right? Because like I don't know how you look at Supergirl and say it's worse than the Flash. I think, right? Like yes, Sasha Kaye was great in the Flash as Supergirl. We, if you go back in the Morgue archives, we sat here going, yeah, Flash was all right. Like we were also, but like in retrospect, we were being way too kind to it. And I don't think that we're going to say the same here. Like it's a good movie, and it's going to hold up a lot better than The Flash, a lot better than Batman v Superman. I like that's how do you look at this movie and say it's worse than like it's come on. Come on,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah, yeah, agreed. And James Gunn is trying to slowly build this thing up without getting ahead of his skis, because last time that happened, we saw exactly
We
what happened with the
yes.
Snyderverse, and we saw, like Tex mentioned, we didn't even get a Man of Steel 2. Like these movies, like comics and superheroes are about character and their development, how one action and the consequence affects them personally, emotionally, and how they drag that into the next journey, the next adventure. We never got to see Henry Cavill's Superman adjust to life after Zod. We never got
Right.
that. We just got this different kind of like darker version of it.
And
And
then he
it was
died.
just, and then he died and came back with like CGI mustache lip,
Right.
and it was not great, dude. It was not great. And I really like the fact that James Gunn is taking his time. He's taking his time with his characters. He's making sure that the characters go through an emotional journey in order for us to earn their respect, to earn this hero that we're seeing on the big screen. And I think Supergirl does a fantastic job at that. Creme aside, Lobo aside, the action could have had a lot more action. The color palette was a bit dark, but we were also dealing with dark kind of themes, and planets
Yeah.
themselves that she was visiting were also very murky themselves and just kind of dredges of the
Yeah.
universe. So I really think that this movie is successful in building that foundation for the next Supergirl and what else she's gonna do. Because, like Tech said, she is involved in a lot of things. Like in DC, she goes to Themyscira and spends a bunch of time with Wonder Woman to train and be like, and learn from her how to be a woman or something like that in one of the comic books, and like in one, she goes to in the future and she ends up in Legion, and then another one, she ends up with the Monitor in Crisis on Infinite Earths. You know what I mean? So there's a lot.
And that's the thing too. Yeah, like if we're supposed to love her, then Crisis would really matter with her, especially because if you
If
know
you know, you
Crisis, you
know.
know why
Yes.
Supergirl. Yeah, you need to like you're like, oh, this is why Supergirl's important, and this is why we got it first, right? Like this is the thing. Like we got this right after Superman, so that kind of tells you how important she's going to be for everything else. And like it or not, she's gonna be sticking around. So, like, hey, I it, just get used to it. I mean, hey, like, I'm sorry. Like,
She's
I don't know
stuck
what to
with us,
tell you.
folks.
Like, get
She
used to
is
seeing
stuck
her.
with us no matter what. James Gunn absolutely loves
Yes.
her, loves her performance as Supergirl. And I honestly cannot wait to see how this new upbeat emotional version of Kara Zor-El interacts with Metropolis, because we get a little bit of that. How she was always missing home since she didn't really have a
Yeah.
home. How she felt out of place the entire time. So seeing her interact in Metropolis is definitely going to be the next bit of adventure we see from her. I'm pretty sure she's gonna be helping out Superman in a lot more adventures. They actually say it in the movie as well. She's gonna stick around and I'm gonna help you,
Yeah.
you know? So I really, at the end of the day, Tex, I really like this movie.
Me too.
It did have its little quirks and its little pitfalls there, Lobo being one of them. But I enjoyed Supergirl, and that I think is the biggest takeaway here. The enjoyment of the character itself. Like, she was fantastic. I love Supergirl, and I cannot wait to see more of her texts.
Well, with that being said, Arturo, buddies, you know how we do things here at the Morgue. We have our scale of pay for it, which is go check it out immediately as soon as possible. There's wait for it, which is, oh, you can wait till it's more convenient of a watch. You're not missing much. Then there's stay away from it, which is don't see it, don't waste your money on it, you'll be fine. And in terms of pay for it, wait for it, or stay away from Supergirl, I'll start off first, and I will say pay for it. Like, it's a more like on the softer edge of, like, I think you can wait to see it and you'll be fine, but also just check it out in theaters, because, like, it's, yes, it's a busy June, but also not exactly too, right? Like, it's kind of like it was busier before, but summer is kind of dying down a little bit, which is surprising. And you kind of want to see a good movie in theaters. This is one. It's a lean movie, like, and that's part of why I like it so much. It's not bogged down by a bunch of stuff, and you'll walk out being surprised and entertained. And so, Arturo, what say you for Supergirl?
I'm gonna have to agree with you, Tex. It is a pay for it on the softer side, of course. But I think it is a pay for it for any fan of James Gunn's Superman. If you loved Superman last year, I highly recommend going to watch this, because it just kind of fits very well into James Gunn's vision,
Yeah,
and it fits for the vision of the future of DC Studios. And let me tell you, Tex, the theaters were packed with people wearing their
yeah.
Superman merch to these screenings. All of the screenings, they were like hourly screenings. They were all sold out. People coming out satisfied. There was clapping in my screenings,
We're
dude.
back, baby.
People were clapping at the end
I
and
mean, we're
everything.
back,
I was
baby,
like,
because, like,
yes, clap, clap, because it's
yes,
awesome.
the people are ready for Superman again, right? Like, we've had decades of Batman, 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 and I get it, right? Batman's the cool one. So you're like, yeah, this is the cool guy, but, like, yes, you look at Superman, you're like, oh, it's a square. I don't want to root for a square. But there's a reason. Like, he's just a good guy. And it's the same thing with Supergirl. She has that edge. So if you want Superman who's, like, less of a nerd, here you go. Like, she's perfect. And it's, dude, I'm ready. This has me hyped for whatever's next. I'm down. What are we getting next? Like, in
We got
theaters,
Clayface next.
Clayface?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah,
Let's
we
do
got
it.
Clayface next. But buddies at home, let us know in the comments down below what you thought about Supergirl and what you think the trajectory of DC Studios is right now after viewing the awesomeness that was Kara Zor-El. I, for one, really enjoyed this thing. And like Tex said, I cannot wait to see Corey Sweat again, battling it out with Lex Luthor, who we've seen behind the scenes wearing a practical, a suit of armor there, which was like, yes, how
Yeah.
awesome is that? I'm very excited for that. Very excited to see Superman again next year. Time flies, buddy. So sooner rather than later, we're going to be talking about the first teaser for Superman Man of Tomorrow. And I cannot wait for that. Thank you so much for listening. This is The Morgue, where we dissect the latest and greatest in the world of entertainment. We are your hosts, Arturo Padilla, along with Mr. Nick Valdez. A big shout out goes to you guys out there for listening and for watching. We have all these episodes up on our YouTube. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Hit that bell up there. That way you know when all these videos are dropping. We also have these episodes anywhere you get your podcasts. Drop us some stars, drop us a review. We'd highly appreciate it. Big shout out goes to Delvirus for all the artwork you've seen in front of you throughout the years. And last but not least, it is a scary world out there, but a bit less scary with Supergirl flying around. But we are here to walk you through it.